I encourage everybody to find their own place in this path, no matter what they feel like it could be. Not everybody needs to be an advocate or an activist, but we do need allies. When we can support each other, we can help raise up the voices and the work that so many in the community are doing to change things. And even if you're just cheerleading on the side, that's still advocacy and that's still something. So just stick with it and give your support where you can. And I think we'll have a beautiful, strong community on the other.
Hello, love. Welcome to the Sacred Purpose Podcast, a place where we illuminate your innate wisdom and help you embody your soul's calling. I'm your host, Lisa Malia, midwife, breast cancer survivor, and mama of 3, turned nonprofit CEO and embodiment coach. We're each on a unique path to live our sacred purpose, but we don't need to walk it alone. Through the power of connection, feminine wisdom, and embodied leadership, we can elevate our lives, communities, and businesses. Each week, I'll bring you transformative stories, practices, and rituals to support you in trusting and following your intuition, creating space to live a life of sacred purpose with deeper clarity and unapologetic joy. As we reimagine and envision a new way forward. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Today's guest was diagnosed at the age of 27 with breast cancer, just as she was preparing to get married and start a new chapter of her life. We cover everything in this episode, from what it's like as a 20-something cancer survivor when most people with this disease are well into their 40s or 50s, and how you find support, how you shift your life, and what it's like to have now become a lifelong advocate for breast cancer patients and survivors and research. She just celebrated her 40th birthday, and she's what we call a unicorn. So any of those 20-something out there who've just been diagnosed with breast cancer, looking for support, she is somebody to look to for hope and for inspiration. Those are our mentors and our guides, and I can't think of a more beautiful guest to be able to share with you today as one of those guides, as one of those unicorns to look for, Dana Donofree. Talking about what it is like to have become a lifelong advocate, what it is like to be in this cancer's community, to have this kind of support, to be unable to just stop sharing our message. It is just part of us now. And we talk about the friends that we've lost and how we move forward from that and how we still find hope and move forward. Dana has also built a life and a business around supporting women with breast cancer. She's a fashion designer and began creating intimates based out of her own need and search to want to have beautiful garments to wear, even though she had breast cancer, had been through surgery, her skin and her body were different and had different needs, but still a desire to wear beautiful intimates. And so this episode is appropriately titled Advocates and Intimates. Let me tell you a little bit more about Dana, but before I do, I want to encourage you to go visit the links in our show notes. Learn more about her organization. We have some great promo codes that she's offered us for anybody looking to order from her. And we have some workshops coming up for some breast cancer survivors, writing workshops to help you get your story out, even if it's just for yourself or something you want to share into the world, or whether you're writing your story for the first time, you've hit a writer's block, or just looking for a community to share your story with. Like I said, go sign up, links in the show notes. We'd love to see you there. Dana Donofree founded AnaOno out of her own necessity and desire for not only beautiful, but comfortable lingerie. After her cancer diagnosis in 2010, with a degree in fashion design from Savannah College of Art and Design and a successful industry career, she took her experience and applied it toward launching AnaOno, intimates designed differently. Dana's story has been featured on USA Today, The Today Show, New York Times, and many others. Even with these accomplishments, she is most proud of making a difference in the lives of women worldwide and is honored to continue to spread her mission of boob inclusivity. Dana, hello. I cannot tell you what a deep privilege it is to have you here today. I've been following your work for a long time. I know what you mean to the breast cancer community. I know what you mean to the work you do, the people you serve, the people you love, and just such a beautiful human being, but also just so incredibly impactful. And I'm excited to be able to meet you, to be able to share your story and to know you better and to dive into this conversation. And I just know that anybody that takes the time to tune into this is just going to absolutely, if they don't already know and love you, they will absolutely after this episode. So just let me know, where are you today? I know you've been doing a lot of traveling. Are you back home? And just take a moment to introduce yourself and tell our listeners a little bit about you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's interesting as I become older and as my cancer diagnosis fades into a memory rather than an actuality in real life. I always kind of say, this is a great question. Where am I today? I am in Philadelphia, which is shocking. I love to travel. I travel a lot for AnaOno and for my work, but where I'm at today, it's interesting. I'm walking down a path that I wasn't necessarily planning to walk down. I got the fortunate piece of my little fortune cookie, and I got to celebrate my 40th birthday just a few weeks ago, which
congratulations.
Thank you, is a big feat after being diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 27. So I know I'm incredibly grateful and lucky to be here today to get to share that. And yeah, my diagnosis 12 years ago really changed my life and changed the trajectory on what and where I was heading and how I was going to get there. And, I can look back now as, being an advocate and an activist and a business owner in this space for more than a decade. Some things have gone really well. Some things are still incredibly limited and we have to fight for still every day. But in the reality, I also know it's an honor to get to actually share in those memories in the past and also, impact and create our future as well. So where I'm at today is I'm going strong with AnaOno. It's a lingerie line that I like to call boob inclusive that I launched after my own diagnosis. Thank you so much. Yes, it was, I just really realized from all of the stories and people that were sharing their stories with us that our intimates and what it is that we stand for is more than just a bra. It's supposed to be a pathway and a door that opens to find that new life, whatever it's going to be. And honestly, it doesn't have to do with our chests or our breasts. It has to do with how we express ourselves. And that was really my mission, when I set out to sort of use my talents and skills as a fashion designer. I've never done anything my entire life. I can say that I started designing clothes when I was 8 years old. To just, apply that to a world that I'm so passionate in, a community that I love so much. And I just, again, I consider myself lucky every day.
Absolutely. And I think you've really, really built on that blessing, that luck, that thriving, that, still being here. And I think you and I could both agree on this, that we honor our sisters that aren't here by living more fully and advocating for them and really embracing every moment that we have, because we know that they would have done anything to have another moment. 100%. And yeah, congratulations on your 40th birthday, the success of AnaOno. And like you said, the women, I think, coming to you, they think they're coming for lingerie. They think they're coming for a bra, but they get so much more. Mm-hmm. They find community when they arrive. They find somebody who sees them, for the first time. They might feel like, oh my God, I'm not alone in this. There's somebody who gets this. And there's more women out there like me who really still want to feel good in their body, right? And be supported and show up and even maybe feel sexy or feel good or feel gentle or feel soft or just be comfortable.
Right.
Whatever it is that they're seeking, they'll find it there with you. And it's beautiful work that you do. Like I said, it's like far more than just a bra or lingerie, but it is beautiful lingerie also. You touched on something which I wanted to go back to, in that you said right now in this moment you have something in front of you that you didn't anticipate. Like, I'm about to go down a path that I never would have saw myself going down. And being a cancer survivor, I find that's a skill that we almost develop, if you're willing or able to really take that pivot, because of course a cancer diagnosis will throw you down a path you never thought you would go down. I'm sure you never saw yourself designing mastectomy wear,
I saw myself designing a lot of things. The mastectomy bra was not one of them.
Right. Post-surgical bras, who knew? But you've done it. And I think we almost become masters at reinventing our lives, and I think that's a message that actually so many people could benefit from right now, because everything is shifting and changing so drastically, almost day to day sometimes it feels like. So I was wondering if you could touch a little bit about that, what you're facing right now and kind of how that's supported you in this shift.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have a very dear friend of mine, Molly, and she had said very, very early on in the pandemic that she said, doesn't it feel like the world just got cancer?
Mm-hmm, it did.
And it was this really powerful point of view that we understand and know how to live in a world with shaky ground.
Yeah.
When everything was happening around us for the pandemic, for me, my experience was, oh, great, this is chemo all over again. This is recovery all over again. This is, my life and limitations and cancer therapies and treatments and all of these things. Like, I was already used to living like that. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize in some senses, right, that was even different than what most other people were experiencing. Although understandably it's different, but it didn't impact me in that way. And now, to be here, to just think yes, the world is experiencing a massive, massive major shift. And that's a gift, right? I never refer to my cancer as being a gift or being something that, I cherish. I don't. If I could turn back the hands of time, it would be a really, really, really difficult decision, but I wouldn't have gone through it. I think it would be really hard. The friends that I've met, the opportunity to start my business, to do everything that I've done, I would take it all away to not have cancer again. But we also know that those are dream worlds and we don't live in one of those.
Yeah.
And, the reason why I say I'm not really sure what I do today is because, in all honesty, I didn't think I would make it to 40. Mm-hmm. I had a prognosis that was very, very bad. I had an Onca type score that was incredibly high. Every day I wait for the shoe to drop, every day of my life. And that's been for the last 12 years. And that has not gone away from me. It might go away for some people. Some people, every cancer diagnosis is very, very different. But what that does is it allows me to really wake up every single morning of my life and know that I'm going to give that day my best. And sometimes my best is just laying on the couch and staring at the wall and sleeping, but because my body needs it. But sometimes my best is really my best, going out and trying to be the best human I can be that day, because I don't know what tomorrow brings. That is my reality. And so when I turned 40, it was monumental for so many reasons. I was happy when I hit my 5-year cancer anniversary. I was even happier when I hit 10 years. But, it's, I don't know how to explain this pinnacle yet, because I'm kind of right in the midst of it. And I can probably retroactively look back and understand a lot more than what I can in my present moment. But I hit 10 and that was a pinnacle and that was a peak. And now every year I'm oh, is this going to be the year it happens? Mm. Because, not only do you survive longer, but you survive longer. And the longer you survive, it also feels like the shorter that window gets.
Right.
So I kind of felt like I was going to have this 10-year revelation where I was going to be maybe I am free of cancer. Maybe I can move on. Maybe this is what it was supposed to be. And this is my moment. But now I'm looking at it and I'm okay, it's 11 years, it's 12 years. And I'm and I'm searching, where is that 27-year-old that's lived 30, 40, or 50 years after her cancer diagnosis? Where is she? And that's what the hard part is you don't have a lot of people to look up to because of, being that typical young breast cancer patient where cancers are more aggressive for us in most cases. And, and as we said early on, it's it's an honor to be here. It really, truly is, because I've lost more friends than I can actually literally count. And that's a very hard thing when you live in that world every day of your life.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And why your story is so powerful, because there's a 27-year-old out there right now listening to this, a 22-year-old even, who will find hope in your words and in your will and your health and your vitality right now. So take me back to 27-year-old Dana. I mean, I got diagnosed at 40 and I wasn't ready for it. I was, I still had kids I was raising. Granted, they were in their teens and, headed towards college. And I was so close to having that, the last little bird out of the nest. And, my mother was a survivor, and I kind of felt like I was going to get it someday, but I wasn't ready yet. I was like, I am still too young. And I cannot imagine. I mean, I have a 27-year-old daughter now. What you went through, what your mom went through, it's not anywhere on your radar at 27.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I would never believe you. So you look fabulous and vibrant and lovely. Yeah. 27-year-old me. I had no realization around breast cancer. I do have an aunt that had breast cancer, but I was too young to remember really that she was going through a treatment. I always knew that she had it. And actually she had breast cancer in her 30s, and that was almost 40 years ago. So fingers crossed.
Wow.
My Aunt Jeannie is my unicorn, and I'm always looking up to her, and she does give me so much hope. My mom had some friends, but in 2010, we were living in such a different world. I mean, like Facebook was actually Facebook, and like Facebook was actually your friends.
Yes.
There was no Instagram. I don't know. Maybe Instagram had just launched for pretty pictures. I'm not even sure. There was no Twitter. I'm like 99% sure Amazon was selling real books,
Yes.
So it's like, it was just a different era. And my biggest challenge was when I got diagnosed. First of all, it was just like unbelievable. I mean, hit with a Mack truck. I mean, I didn't know that I knew young people got cancer. I didn't know young people got breast cancer.
Right.
You hear of lymphoma and Hodgkin's and, a lot of things, brain cancer, stuff like that. But I was like, I'd never heard of anybody with breast cancer. And yeah, I mean, the youngest person I was introduced to during my treatment was a woman that was turning 50 that year that we were in the chemo chairs. So it was just like, at 27, I mean, now at 40, I'm like, half of my friends are 50, but at 27, 50 is a long way away from where you are. Like, yes. We didn't have kids. We were engaged to be married. I was like, our wedding was in 3 months after I got diagnosed. It was just like, that was where I was at in my life. I was living that untouchable zone. My career was like skyrocketing. I had incredible experiences. I was traveling around the world. I was dressing celebrities. Like, it was everything I wanted to do in my life. And then it was just like, boom, like poof, like what happens now, And back then, even too, I'm HER2 positive. So there was a lot of information that wasn't available even yet in 2010. And, when my doctor told me I was 0.01% of the annual diagnoses, like there was literally like 3 other people out there like me that were in my age demo with my cancer. And I was like, cool. Like, this is how you win the lotto, I guess.
Wow.
The cancer lottery. Yeah. It was just, it was such a jarring experience for me. It's really what led me into this advocacy space of which I reside, not just with AnaOno, but with me personally. It was like these limitations to be accessed as a young person, a young adult, somebody starting their career, making big decisions about babies and marriages and cars and house payments. It was just like, there was nothing, and I vowed, I'm like, we cannot get through it like this anymore. Mm-mm. Like and not to mention, I mean, I wish there wasn't like the under 40. It really should be premenopausal.
Agreed.
Women, right, that are getting diagnosed premenopausal and postmenopausal, because there's just different stories of our lives on both sides of that dividing factor.
Well, even, if family planning, how that impacts that. I was premenopausal, but I had already had all my babies, and, it didn't affect any of those choices for me.
Right.
Whereas somebody even 35 might still be preparing to have a family. Right. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just, it's like it's almost like the facets of your life that you don't expect to be hit are the facets of your life that are hit the hardest.
Yeah.
Because those are the points. I'm really fortunate that I didn't have a life plan to have children, but who's to say? I was 27 years old and I didn't want to have kids. Like, I don't know. Like, if you ask me that question now and I didn't have cancer, like maybe I would say, yeah, maybe I like a baby or two. I don't know. I never got that opportunity. Right. I never got to look down that looking glass, so it's like, but I do have friends that are heartbroken over that, and it's just, and those are really real decisions that we have to make in our lives. And, pregnancy to some diagnoses is dangerous. Mm-hmm. And that's just, that's our harsh reality. And you have to really make a decision. People said, oh, you can have a baby now, you're 40. I've been off my treatment for 1.5 or 2 years. And I'm like, no, I cannot. Like, I've been through menopause twice. Maybe I'll do it like one time for real. Like, I can't imagine putting my body through any of that.
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah. You're already making so many choices just to keep yourself alive in the best way possible so that you can even still have quality of life in your body. Exactly. Yeah. Like, what more can I possibly ask of it?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness. So I have a question. Was your aunt also HER2 positive?
When she was diagnosed, they weren't testing for it.
Wow.
It's hard to tell. We don't have any genetic mutations in our family. My mom's sister passed away of colon cancer. And then my mom's sister is the one with breast cancer. And then I got breast cancer. We're really the only 3 in the family lineage that has any cancer. We have a lot of heart disease in the family, but that's really it. So if it is genetic, it's going to be very rare and limited. But so far in the extended panel series, nothing has produced itself as positive yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, I think my family was told the same thing. Like, we definitely believe there's something there. Science just hasn't caught up with what's going on in your family yet. Again, 27 years old, breast cancer, your life is just completely changed overnight. And I know then what Facebook was like and the support that was available. And even now it would be tough. It's out there. Like, we know now where to go find that community and where we can point people to. But I'm curious, what got you through? What did you look towards? How did you, because I know that there's those moments, no matter what, even when you have support, mm-hmm. even when, I had more support than I could have even asked for. And yet I felt there were times where I just felt completely alone. I still felt like an astronaut going to the moon for the first time. It was terrifying. And I know for me, I thought, if I'm feeling this way, what must other people be feeling that are truly unsupported or alone, or, 27 and not able to find other people that are going through it at their age. Curious to know what got you through and what advice you might give somebody who's feeling that way.
I couldn't agree with you more. Getting through this, even in an era now where digital support is so plentiful and at least accessible, it still doesn't make it easy. Mm-hmm. And I remember very specifically being introduced to a young cancer group in Colorado, which is where I was treated. And at that point in time, it was just all cancer. And I told my nurse navigator, I just said, I can't come and sit in a room with other people that have cancer. Like, if the person sitting next to me is like 18 with a brain tumor, and like I'm sitting here crying because I need to chop off my breasts to save my life. Like, I don't see how those two things are comparable. And that was my mind at 27 years old. I felt guilty that there was a big push around breast cancer, and it was like the propaganda and media and marketing around breast cancer in that era was like I said, literally, if you weren't wearing a feather boa, a pink tutu, and jumping up and down on a billboard with a big smile on your face as a 50-year-old white woman, we weren't talking about breast cancer.
Right.
Like, it was being so marketed, and the push of the pink ribbon was coming out so strong when I was diagnosed. It made you feel bad as a breast cancer patient. If you felt bad, having breast cancer.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I totally relate to that. I remember all that marketing. And I remember even when I got diagnosed, there was a celebrity on the cover of a magazine. She had just been diagnosed. She was bald. She was beautiful. And, they were celebrating her, whatever, her recovery, how quickly she powered through it and just, got right back to work. And it made me so angry every time I looked at it. And I got diagnosed and I was mad. And I told my friends and my family, and I'm like, I will not be inspirational. Do not. I won't. I am an angry cancer patient.
It was, that celebration was being tokenized, which is not correct. And it's like, and again, sort of why I fell into the advocacy role was because I was like, maybe if you're 55 and you got breast cancer, maybe you're happy about it. I don't know. Maybe you are. But at 27, like, I'm flipping pissed off. And I am not happy about it. This is not okay. This is not sunshine and rainbows. This sucks. And it's completely destroying my entire life. It wasn't just that it was cancer in my health. It was my entire life.
Yeah.
And so like, I was like, where is that story? Where is that story? And so when you ask like what got me through, like, and I had great friends, nobody knew what I was going through. Great friends, nobody knew. I didn't do the young cancer group because I felt alienated because I only had breast cancer. I had a community of friends that really stood next to me, which was a beautiful, beautiful things. And then I lost a shitload of friends as well, because like I had cancer and there's, we can unpack why you lose friends all day, every day. But like, what got me through was really me putting like my own like dart on the dartboard and realizing that what was affecting my life so dramatically was that I didn't love my new body. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. If I couldn't love myself, how could others love me, or how could I love somebody else? And just going through this like total phase of mutilation around my entire treatment and its care, but then turning that over and creating AnaOno. And that was like, for me as a creative, as an artist, like I needed an outlet. And like, I do kind of look back at the early phases of AnaOno. And I always say like, she's sort of like my muse, my alternate ego, because like she was everything that I couldn't be in those moments. So when she was like flirty and fun and feminine, it was all of the emotions and things I wanted to feel, but I couldn't. Oh, so I channeled
Anna, Dana, Anna, I'm feeling Anna right now. I've got full body chills. I'm just like, this vision of you and your creative process. I mean, it's really beautiful.
It was, it was. And then when I got angry, AnaOno would get angry. It's like when I would get happy, AnaOno would be happy. And it's really been what I see is like that moment. And it's why, my slogan is never alone. Like you said it so perfectly earlier. It's like, I was so isolated. I was so alone. It didn't matter how much family and friends I had around. They didn't get it. And they didn't get it because of all of these things that happened behind the wall. Yeah. Right. We all put up this wall of like, let's call it the okay wall. How are you doing today? Okay. Okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. Like, you're not okay.
Yeah. I remember even the guy at the grocery store could crack me, checking out, how you doing today? And I was like, oh God, no,
okay.
No, right. Don't ask.
Because nobody really wants that answer.
Yeah, no.
Nobody really wants that answer on the other side. And I just like, when I sort of landed on this, like never alone, it was just because I did, everything is so alone and so isolating until you meet that one person that gets you. And then when they get you, the things that you get to say that you don't have to say out loud are priceless, right? Like I know when I meet another breast cancer patient that they think about death more than any other normal human being, right? And that's something that an emotion I can rely on because I know that. I don't have to say it out loud like, hey, are you afraid of dying? We all know what the answer is. So it's like, when you just can like share in those emotions so quickly, it's like your community does become other members of the community because we just get each other. And that's when you stop feeling so alone
Yeah.
is when you can start relying on support of others that understand the trauma and challenge that you've been through.
Yeah. It's the lens that you look at the world through now.
Yeah.
And, you know, even if I'm not thinking about death, the way that I'm looking at things and viewing things is through the lens of cancer and how it's affected and altered the way that I look at everything now. And it's, you know, you can't really bring that into every conversation. And even what you were talking about, like these milestones, 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, you know, most people are like, well, aren't you over it yet? What do you mean?
Yes.
Didn't somebody just wrap a pink bow around you and say you were cured and you're like done and healed and back to your regular life? Didn't you get back to normal? Didn't you like,
Yes.
And nobody in the cancer world would have expected, you know, ever asked that, right? Because we know it's never over.
Right. You get it. Like you understand, like it's great to celebrate another year.
Absolutely.
On this planet, you know, and it's great, you know, to hopefully have some of your health in line with that. And yeah, you're right. I mean, I've lost friends because they're like, are you going to stop talking about breast cancer? And I'm like, I don't know how I can. I wish I could.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it, you know, practically ruined my marriage. And, you know, we ended up reconciling and getting back together, but it's truth. Like, you know, I mean, nothing against my loving and dear husband, but he was just like, every day is full of cancer. And I'm like, I don't have any other way to live.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, if you want out, go. Like, I get it. I wouldn't want to sign up for this if you didn't have to sign up for it. Like, I'll pass 100%. Like, so I think it's just, you know, that part's hard. Cause like, I remember distinctively one of my friends, I came home from a funeral, and a funeral that hit me fairly hard. And she looked at me and she said, have you ever thought about having more friends that don't have cancer? I was like, I'm going to go inside, because what my mom taught me was if you don't have anything nice to say, you don't say anything at all. And I just like, I walked in and I was like, I understood what she was trying to say to me. I get it. But there's just this reality of like, sure, would I like more friends that don't have cancer? But those people don't get me either. You know, like you find the people that you relate to in life. And it's like, you're right. Like you can look up every day you wake up with a different view on the world than most people have. And that in a way is a gift. Right. And so when you wake up next to somebody, or if, you know, you have a friend that's just like, oh my God, like this thing and that thing and the negative thing and the drama and the da-da-da, I have no time for it.
Right. Exactly.
And it's not because I have rose-colored glasses on. I just choose not to expend my energy in those channels.
Yeah. And that's what I think people don't get. I think some people could look at us and say like, well, you're thinking about cancer every day, and that's a negative thing, but it actually isn't. It actually just clears the clutter out of your life in a way. It's like you said, all of that other stuff actually does not matter, and it doesn't get to enter my spirit as much as possible. I'm human. Sometimes it does, but boy, I catch it pretty early on now, and no, it doesn't get to stay here. And you know, moments are sweeter. We do cherish our 40th birthday, our 50th birthday that much more. Some people complain about turning 40 or turning 50, and I will celebrate every single one of those milestones. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about the creation of AnaOno.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it just came so naturally to me. I was having a really, really hard time identifying with my new body. I had a full double mastectomy with implant reconstruction. And in 2010, saving a nipple was like practically off the menu. So when my doctor said we could save your nipple on your non-cancerous side, but just a heads up, it could die and fall off. So I was like, spare me the trauma. I think I can, you know, I'll be okay. And it was really hard. It was really hard to look back in the mirror and look at this body that was now hairless and eyebrowless and eyelashless and nippleless. And it was just like, I wasn't walking around in something that I owned. It was just like this body, this vehicle. And it got to the point where, I mean, I wouldn't even look in the mirror. I wasn't even looking in the mirror for almost a full year. And I just didn't understand why this like change of my body was affecting me so much, but it was not just my body, it was the way I was dressing myself. And like, as a fashion designer, like the only way I know how to express myself is like with my clothing and my jewelry and my accessories and my look. And, like it's who I am. And I try to reinvent her like a lot of different ways. And I always found myself like trying to like cover up these sports bra straps that I was wearing. As I was going to work, I was 27. I was working every day through my treatment, except for the 3 weeks out of my mastectomy treatment or surgery. And I was just like, oh, the reason why I can't identify with myself is because I can't express myself because I can't dress myself appropriately. And then it just clicked. And I was like, that's because I can't find a bra that fits. Mm-hmm. And I had already gone so far I have a mastectomy tattoo around my trunk, around my torso. And the whole point of that was, again, in 2010, mastectomy tattoos weren't even on the map. There was one picture on the internet, and it was the woman that wears the Celtic vest, the flat chest. And I was like, well, if you can tattoo on a nipple, like I should be able to tattoo on whatever I want to tattoo on, right?
Yes.
Plastic surgeons said no, but I said, in theory, I think it's going to be okay. And I interviewed probably 24 plus tattoo artists in order to do my tattoo over my mastectomy. And I literally tattooed like a shape of a demi bra because I could not find intimates that made my body look sexy like they had 6 months earlier when I had chopped off my tits. So I was just like, why is the world telling me I'm not worthy? I'm not feminine. I need like these crazy grandma bra mastectomy devices, medical devices. Like, why is that my only answer? Like, why is that my only solution to trying to like re-identify myself and find my new life and my new love of my body and all of these things? I mean, that's really what Ono was born out of. I had no idea what it was going to be. I thought I would be coming home from work and like sewing bras at my sewing machine after hours as like women bought them on Etsy, like whatever the story was back then. And that only lasted a few months. And it was just like off to the races. I struck a chord, and I'm so grateful and thankful that I can just help support other people that want to feel good. But in all reality, people are like, oh, you're disrupting the mastectomy industry. And I'm like, I never thought about it like that. Mm-hmm. I just didn't think that we were actually looking at mastectomy and seeing what breast cancer patients were actually going through in the right way.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to change. I wanted to change how the world viewed us. We had the opportunity to view ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not a grandma. I'm not an old lady. I'm a young, vibrant, smart person that wants to feel sexy. God damn it. Like, let me do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you touched on something too, just the ridiculousness of these post-surgical mastectomy bras and the devices, as you call them, because most of them are even ones that slide on over your head. I'm sorry, you can't even raise your hands over your head. So getting in and out of any of these devices after surgery requires at least 3 people, if you're lucky to have 3 people near you. I've seen those ones that have like 20 of those hook and eye things going on in the front. Like, who is doing this, trying to close those hook and eyes and the front closures? They're a disaster. They're so uncomfortable. And of course, as you said, to wear them under anything is almost impossible but a hoodie, which I lived in for a very long time.
Which you do live in.
That hoodie, by the way, was an ace bandage because I couldn't even get a bra on. I lived in an ace bandage for a very long time, longer than I should actually admit, because the bras were just not working, not going to happen.
Yeah.
Wow. I wish I had found you sooner.
Well, and I think too, I mean, we're still so small. I mean, we're growing and making a larger impact, but we're still so small, right? And I think that that's like these conglomerates that are in the mastectomy space is like, it's great. They've been around for decades. They've been doing the same thing year over year, but we're changing. Yeah. And that's why I think too, like, when we say boob inclusive, it's really 1 breast, 2 breasts, no breasts, new breasts. Like, it's about your chest overall, because everybody has a different surgery outcome. Some are chosen and some are chosen for you. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want my story or the brand story to be about your boobs, because that was kind of the biggest part of it. I wanted it to be just about embracing and loving your body, no matter what shape it comes in. So if it's missing a breast or it has reconstructed breasts, maybe they have nipples, maybe they don't have nipples, maybe one nipple points up and one nipple points down, because we've seen it all. It's just that you can really learn to love it and not have to be like forced into some sort of confines or mold. Like the world tells you that you need to have these perfectly round breasts and your molded underwire bra was great when you had natural breasts, but it doesn't really work when things change. And I just didn't want to be looked at as different. Like I wanted to have that be accessible to me. Like, why did I have to go in every fitting room? Just like you said, right? Like nothing worked. So it's like leaving every dressing room in tears because the entire world no longer accounted for me because I had breast cancer and I had to amputate my breasts in order to save my life. Like, why am I sacrificing all of these other things? Like I've sacrificed enough. And that's just my mission, is to hopefully have access everywhere, because there's 1 in 8 people that are diagnosed. Like we don't know if those stats are changing, but it feels like there is more of us.
It sure does. Yeah.
That's a lot of humans. It's a lot of humans affected by this disease that need help in other areas in other ways. So
beautiful. Absolutely. I think I have a whole nother episode on just body relationship, building that trust back in your body and that love again for your body, and just even feeling familiar and at home in your body again and recognizing yourself. It's a large part of the work that I do. I felt like it was a very transformative time for me also. And of course, we already enter this with a complicated relationship with our body, usually, that we just don't even recognize, and then add all of this on top of it.
Yeah.
And then it brings it to the forefront in a way that you just can't ignore. And then trying to rebuild that feeling of self and that relationship with your body when it's already been so traumatized. There's a lot of healing to do there. And your part in it is just magnificent. Thank you for giving these women a place to find themselves again.
Thank you. That means a lot.
God, I feel like I could just talk to you forever. Tell me what you would say either to 27-year-old Dana about this before she was diagnosed with cancer. What advice would you have for her?
I love this. And if I was to talk to my pre-cancerous self, I would tell her to slow down and to breathe and to just experience life and not force life to happen, because that's the kind of person I was. Level from 1 to 100, I was running at 110. I wanted success. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be the best. It's just what drove me. And it took cancer to rattle that cage for me and really allow me to stop and sort of smell the roses in a weird way. But, to the 27-year-old that got the diagnoses and got the shock of being diagnosed, I would just tell her to take it one day at a time. I've gotten through the last 12 years by taking it one day at a time. It's really important because I just think life is short and time is limited, and time now is defined for me in a very, very clear path. And I'm no longer afraid of my future or what cancer is going to do to my future. I've embraced it. And I think leaving some of that fear behind has helped me heal in a lot of ways. It's not that it's gone, there's always fear in life, but I'm not afraid of what cancer will do to me and sometime in my future or in my life. But I think, it took me a really long time to get there. And taking it one day at a time helps ease some of that stress of what the overwhelming piece of the future might look like, because we don't know. And the future isn't actually what matters. Like today is what matters. I just encourage her to, again, not try too hard, to be too fast, to be too strong, to deal with everything at one time, because it's not necessary.
Yeah. And I feel like that's advice that works today, as we mentioned before, because again, this pandemic, everything that's going on in the world, the war in Ukraine, we have to take this one day at a time. None of us know what's going to evolve tomorrow. We got to stay grounded in our bodies and just do what we can in this moment. I think that's really beautiful. Do you want to tell me a little bit about what's next for AnaOno, or for you, or where our listeners can find you and follow your magnificent work?
Yes, thank you. So AnaOno is findable just about anywhere on the internet at AnaOno Intimates, and you can check out the collections at AnaOno.com. I'm very proud of our website, where you have a special path to shop by your actual body type. So if you have one breast, you can see all of the collections, every bra that's applicable on somebody who just has one breast. If you're flat closure or aesthetic flat closure, you can see the bras on flat bodies. If you have implant reconstruction, flap reconstruction, they're all there. They're all represented on real people living with breast cancer or have faced a surgery. And, for those listeners that don't have breast cancer, your support also helps us support others. So we have bra programs where a bra is purchased. It's called the Natrel Inspires bra. One is donated to a newly diagnosed breast cancer patient. We love that program because it's a really supportive program. And if you want to follow my own personal business journey, cancer journey, I'm at Dana Dono, DAYNADONO. And if you're wondering where AnaOno came from, it is a version of my name, Dana Donofree, without the double D's.
I love that. I love it. And it's such
I didn't have double D's before breast cancer anyway, so
no,
it's a pseudo side joke.
Well, I can relate to it. It is beautiful. And it is such a beautiful, inviting name too. I want to know AnaOno. I want to be a part of that. It's beautiful. Your work is beautiful. I'm so grateful for it. Before we close, another question for young survivors, actually, a community you would point them towards.
I think now, especially more than ever, there's more specialties. Specifically under the age of 40, the Breasties community is really impactful. They do a lot of breakout groups for different diversity and equity and inclusion initiatives. If you're a person of color, if you're LGBTQ, there's a lot of programming. So you really can tailor, if you're married, if you're not married, if you have kids, if you don't have kids, really amazing opportunities to tailor your own sort of experience and your own healing journey. If you're maybe not under 40, you may be in the kid zone or maybe approaching premenopause or just through menopause. Living Beyond Breast Cancer has great resources as well. They also do have a young breast cancer community. It's hosted through the Facebook channel and through other channels. There's a lot of great connections that happen there and their outreach programs. If there's specific information you really want to learn about your cancer diagnosis or change in treatments or clinical trials, they're at lbbc.org. There's great foundations as well that really focus in if you have a genetic mutation, if you're triple negative breast cancer, if you are a person of color dealing with a different story than your white counterparts, because we know that that's true. We know that has a lot of work to do. There's the Chrysalis Initiative, there's Tiger Lily Foundation, there's For the Breast of Us. I love that everybody's going in and really making sure that there's these great support pieces as a part of the healing journey, because funding stage 4 research is my position and my project. But I also believe greatly in support of the patients themselves and what is needed to really get through treatment, whether you're young or you're old or you're a new mom or whatever, you can really find the community out there for you.
Absolutely. I think all the pieces are important, and so grateful for the work that you do supporting stage 4 research. It's so needed and not discussed enough. So thank you for bringing more visibility to that as well. Anything on your heart that you'd like to share with our community before we end our conversation, this incredibly powerful conversation?
I love having conversations like this. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share and reflect, but also look to the future. And, if you have any questions about AnaOno or any thoughts, want to participate in modeling or fashion shows or whatever, we have tons of stuff on the information on the website for that. And just, I encourage everybody to find their own place in this path, no matter what they feel like it could be. Not everybody needs to be an advocate or an activist, but we do need allies. When we can support each other, we can help raise up the voices and the work that so many in the community are doing to change things. And even if you're just cheerleading on the side, that's still advocacy and that's still something. So just stick with it and give your support where you can. And I think we'll have a beautiful, strong community on the other side.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Voices of Hope is dedicated to the people facing breast cancer now or in the past or in the future. This series is here for the people who are literally fighting for their lives in this moment and for those who are no longer here to share their voice and their stories. We think of them every single day. Voices of Hope is inspired by my mother, who shared her story with me. And if it was not for her being willing to share her story with me, I would not be here today, not in the capacity that I am at the very least. It is motivated by my daughters, my 3 beautiful daughters, and I hope one day that they never have to face this disease. In this series, you will hear from women who are sharing this story for the very first time. You will hear from women who have made it their life's mission to share their story in the hopes of reaching just one more person who might benefit from it. You will hear from women who have transformed their lives through unimaginable loss, through unimaginable circumstances, and how they found hope and got through and began to live their life in a new way. I think that is something we can all benefit from right now. These are real stories of real survivors. The intention for this series is to inspire, educate, support, and inform you so that you feel more empowered in your life as you move forward and support those that you know who might also be facing this disease. Please take a moment to visit our show notes to learn more about these women, to learn more about the breast cancer nonprofit organization For the Love of Cups, and to download our mammogram guide. 4 important questions you need to understand and ask at your mammogram appointment so that you are better informed and empowered to advocate for your best care, to receive a thorough screening exam so that you can get the peace of mind that you deserve. We are so grateful to have you here. I really hope you enjoy these stories as much as I have enjoyed recording them and tuning in and really getting to have these conversations with these incredibly powerful and inspiring women. I'm so happy to have you here with me. It's an honor to have you tuning in each week. I want you to know that no matter where you're at and no matter what transition you're facing, you are supported and loved. You are whole and you are more than capable as you are in this moment. You always have been. If you're ready to lean into a life of purpose, clarity, and joy through sisterhood, ritual, and intention, join us in the Connected Circle. Consider us your soul squad of women navigating all the transitions of life together. To join now, head over to my website, lisamalia.co, and join the Connected Circle at the very top of the page. I'll see you there. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this show, please share, subscribe, rate, and write a review. This helps the goddess of the algorithm guide other incredible people to find this show and supports the work we do here. It really does make a difference, and I would be so, so grateful. With all my love, have a beautiful day.